In this video, I interview our now student Everett, who is crushing it. He started off by watching my YouTube videos, throwing up a site and a Google My Business, optimizing everything correctly, and within a few months, he actually started getting leads. He closed a client and is selling those book jobs for $190 a pop. It's absolutely amazing what he's doing. I can't wait to see where he actually takes this. And you're going to see in this interview that Everett is a massive action taker. And that's really one of the golden nuggets I want you to take away from this. I hope you enjoy this interview with Everett. All right. So we have Everett on the call. Everett, I just want you to introduce yourself and just talk about like what you do, your day job, also your experience of how you kind of got into the whole lead gen business.
Yeah. Thanks, James. So my name's Everett, and I live here in Rhode Island, and have a job that a company I've been with for almost 14 years now in financial services. Been doing that for a long time, 14 years, and but always kind of had a side hustle, looking always to make extra money, and found your videos online and on YouTube, and was really intrigued by one of your videos. It was Rent Little Websites was the title. I've got it bookmarked because I watched it a bunch of times. And I just thought, this is something I can do. I think I can do this. And just watched your videos and listened to a bunch of your other videos on ranking and, Googled My Business and just took it from there.
Incredible. I mean, I think what's so incredible, like when me and Arvin talked to you yesterday, we were so impressed that with having no knowledge, right? You didn't know about this before, right? Before finding those videos.
Not at all. No.
And how long ago would you say did you watch that video? Was it been a year or?
No, yeah, it was like October last year. And I started working on my site and the Google My Business and just trying to build it up and make it something good. And probably dropped it a little while after the new year, but came back to it in, late February. And then in March, I started getting calls, started getting leads.
Wow. And then, yeah, I know we checked yesterday, your GMB's ranking like #1 for the main term, right? And you're getting leads, and you worked out a deal with someone local and they're giving you some money for those leads, correct?
Yeah, so I worked it out where as soon as I had a lead that I needed to do something with, because I knew it meant money for me, was I reached out to a local resource, and I just picked up the phone cold and just said, hey, James, this is my name. I'm from Rhode Island. I grew up in this, this town, and I've got this site going, and I actually got a lead. And if you want it, I'll give it to you, and maybe we can work out a deal for all leads going forward, and luckily the guy I talked to was a go-getter too. And he was like, wow, this is a great idea. I love this. I love you. This is so cool. And he really was into it, and we worked something out right over the phone, like the second conversation we had, and we've been partnered ever since. In fact, because the nature of the business, this one guy wasn't always going to be available to me, so I had to go and find another guy. So I asked him, do you know anybody else? And he said, yeah, call this guy. And I called him. So now I have 4 guys that I can go to now to give leads to when one isn't available.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man. I mean, hats off to you for coming into something that you knew nothing about. You watched the videos, and the key here is, and what impressed me is, you're just an action taker. Like, right? You're learning from the very little knowledge that you had, and you just took massive action, started getting leads, and then you aren't afraid to just call someone and start having a friendly conversation like, hey, I got something, because it's valuable to them, right? Every local business, they definitely want more business. But I think a lot of students struggle with that. Even when they get leads, they struggle to even get on the phone or know how to reach out to someone Meanwhile, it's like you're the one that has the valuable asset, you know, like all you have to do is have a conversation. Not saying that everyone, happens to us, not every person you talk to is going to be the right fit. If they say they don't want more business or they're not a go-getter, like you said, you don't want to work with that person. But if you do find that go-getter that wants to grow and you're able to provide them those leads, I mean, sky's the limit there, especially as long as you could keep it flowing with leads. And now I know you're working on your second, right, website.
Yep. It's I'm working on it. The first one is going so well. I thought I would keep going and keep the momentum going. So I picked a niche that's very closely related to my existing one. So I feel good about that. I actually have already reached out to a local resource who I can go to with the leads. Already worked out a deal with her. So when those leads start coming in, you know, I've already got something in place with her. And but yeah, and just advice for anybody that's, you know, might be hesitant about reaching out to those local resources, you know, whether it's, you know, roofers or plumbers or whatever your niche is, you know, you put all that time and effort into building your website, your links, your backlinking, your Google business page. You put all that work into it. You need to pay off. So when you got that lead in your hand, you know, don't throw it away. Take it somewhere. You know, I think only when you find somebody, the right person, you'll know, because they'll be, you know, they're going to accept it and work a deal out with you. And that's all it took for me. So I'm pleased.
Yeah. I mean, again, kudos to you for taking massive action. And now you're going to be in the training. And I think inside our training, the full training, when you're in there and you're going through, especially with your new site and even revisiting your other site, I cannot wait to see what you end up doing, you know, over the next couple months with your sites, and then also growing, because I hope you jump into other niches in your area. I like that you're staying local too, because you know your area. And I think that you can leverage the conversation of, hey, I'm a local guy here too. I have this site. I like that, how you're doing that. And I think if you keep growing these little assets and just partnering up with these people. And what was smart, what you did is, even before this next site's up, you already started talking to someone about, hey, right? That's what you did. You started a conversation and said, hey, if I get this, can we work out a deal?
Yeah. In fact, I got it from my existing guys. I said, do you know anybody that'd be interested in working with me in the same type of situation that we have? And they gave me a bunch of people to go to. And I talked to the second person I talked to. She was on board. So
that's awesome.
And she, and all the people that I work with, they all are amazed at the idea behind Rent Little websites. You know, they all think that that's a really neat idea, and they're like, "Wow, I never thought of that before. That's pretty cool." So, you know, the idea is still hot, I think, and you know, I'm going to capitalize and, you know, keep moving on. And speaking of websites, like you were saying, you know, when I get into the training, I'm hoping to, you know, I've got my second niche kind of website already built out. But, you know, I'm going to wait to publish it until I go through the training, because I want to go through the training and apply all those secret tips and tricks to this new one. I'm thinking the second one might even be bigger than the first one. So.
Yeah. Once you go through, did you get to see the, I know you watched some of the YouTube videos. Did you see the Lubbock roofing website that we have, or no?
Maybe I don't know. No, I don't think so.
Okay. So that's another site that like we use as like a case study that we have it rented out. It's in a small city. It's a roofing in a small city in Texas. And if you also analyze that, you can see like how much content we have on there, why it's ranking number one. And we show that in the training. Why I think you're going to be so successful is not only to me, the easy part is, as long as you're following the steps and getting the sites up, that's the easy part. Once they're getting leads coming in, this is why I think you're going to be successful, is that you're not afraid to take action and find someone to partner up with or make it, because you know that lead's worth money. Like, now you just got to find someone to exchange that for the money. And I think that you have 5 or 6 sites making money. I think that from there, you're going to realize, all right, and then you just keep reinvesting.
Yeah. And you know what, and if anybody's curious, you know, for every, you know, for the deals that I have with my first niche, you know, the average ticket I'm making is $190 per. And I had a month where I had 4 of those.
That's great.
Yeah. And that's just one site. So, I'm thinking, if I can times 5, times 5 sites, I mean, it could be really awesome. So I'm looking forward to it.
Now, do you ever think about, I know like you're in Rhode Island, but is there other areas right outside of that you think are big enough that you can also capitalize on? That you ever think of that, or you just think about staying in your area?
Right now, I think I'm just going to stay in RI. If you guys are familiar with Rhode Island, it's pretty small. You can drive from the top to the bottom in about 50 minutes. So that's why my websites have Rhode Island in the name, because if you're, say, a plumber in northern Rhode Island and you've got a big enough job, you're going to drive to the southern part of Rhode Island. It's not a big deal. Right. So anybody in the service industry here, like say plumbers, electricians, whatever, DJs, they're all going to go to, all over Rhode Island, and maybe even then some. So for now, I'm going to stick to Rhode Island, what I know, and try to build out here. And if things continue down this path, then I could definitely see expanding into, Massachusetts or Connecticut.
Very nice. Very nice. Do you have like a certain goal that you're trying to hit with these, now that you're going to be in the training too? Do you have like a certain goal that you, maybe like a certain amount of sites you want to build, or a certain revenue stream that you want to hit?
Yeah, I mean, I would be really pleased with, $2,500 a month is my like financial goal, right?
I think you're going too small, man.
Yeah.
I think you could, I think that's easy for you. I think that's,
I mean, that sounds great. I mean, that's 25K, right? That's 25K a year. So, but yeah, I mean, I'm glad to hear that, because I think starting small is okay, and once I get there, of course, I'm not going to put the brakes on. So if I can get up to 25 and keep going, then definitely we'll just take it to the sky's the limit,
Yeah, I definitely think that with this model and your personality and the way that you're willing to put work in, like just from watching YouTube videos, and you had sites up, you have a GMB ranking, like it's that just shows that you're an action taker. Where, I mean, there's students that come in to the training and they don't do anything. The training's laid out A to Z, and some don't even get the domain bought for a few months. It's like, this is a real business. Obviously you have to work it. It's not like you push a button and money just starts flying out of the computer, right? And I think some people don't realize, like, you have to treat this like almost like a job, right? Like when you work a job, you show up, you work for the boss. If you didn't, you'd get fired, right? And it's the one reason why you show up is because you're certain you're going to get a paycheck. And I think if we can put the certainty of, I'm certain that if I put this work in every day and I'm working on my sites, I'm certain that it's going to pay off. If everyone had that certainty, they would put the work in. And it's almost like you have that built in already. And I'm sure now that you made some money with your site, I'm sure you realize, like, wow, this really does work.
Yeah. And if anybody's ever curious about how they can do it, for me, I'm a 9-to-5er, literally right now. I'm a 9-to-5er. And, but I get up at 6:30 in the morning every day. And, after my first cup of coffee, I have my laptop in front of me, and I'll put an hour in, an hour and a half in, and maybe a little, later that evening. But for the most part, just like an hour a day for me is, obviously after you build out the website, and you get your GMB, but even working on all of those things, if you just put in a specific amount of time every day, or put yourself on a routine or a schedule, it's doable.
Yeah, definitely. And let me ask you this: how long has the GMB been ranking for those terms now? How many months has it been?
Oh man, that was the thing that surprised me the most. The GMB, after I published my website and GMB was all verified and everything, I mean, GMB was right almost immediately.
Wow.
And I mean that literally. It was probably within first 2 weeks.
Wow.
I would, you
And
type in my keywords, GM, my thing comes right up on
and
Maps.
I know that you used like one of, I guess you watched my video on like optimizing the GMB and all that good stuff. So I'm sure that that really helped push it. And I'm surprised, like 2 weeks, I see that happen sometimes in certain niches, and
It was
sometimes it
very
takes longer, of
fast.
course, but that's very fast. And now let me ask you this though, how much work are you doing to maintain that ranking?
So you got to put some work into your GMB page, right? Google wants you to kind of interact with it. Don't set it and forget it. So I add pictures to it once in a while with a caption. They let you post to it too, so you can post, like any other, publisher. So you post little things about important things for people to remember about the industry or the niche. You're like, whatever your niche is, you post in there. But for the most
But
part,
it's pretty low maintenance though, right? It's
it's
pretty
low
low
maintenance.
maintenance.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Very low maintenance. Yep.
And
And
that's the beauty of the business model is most of the time, once you put the work in and you get your site and GMB stapled, it usually, of course, it is good. Obviously, you want to check, make sure things are kosher in your ranking still. But most of the time, we have a site. It's funny. I mentioned this yesterday. I was on another Zoom call, and I just got paid yesterday from a client who's been with us for 7 years, every month paying. He does kitchens and bathrooms and like big construction jobs, and he's so busy with all the leads that he gets, and we haven't really touched the site in, I want to be honest, years. Like it's just
yeah,
stapled.
yeah, and it's
Stapled.
great. That is awesome. And I was telling my resources, the guys that I work with, I said, my website is not on page one of Google, but my business is.
Yeah, I like
Right.
that.
And they're like, really? What do you mean? And I tell them, like, when you search my keywords, I'm on the first page on Maps because Google My Business is the first thing that shows up on Maps.
Yeah,
And there's some key things that you talked about in some of your videos on how to maximize and get your GMB ranking on Maps fast. And that was the geotagging, which
yeah.
I thought is huge, huge, huge. And so there's tons of easy free resources to geotag your images, but that's huge, I think. And that was a big factor.
It's all those little micro steps of doing those things that I think in the long run add up and just have you bump up above your competition. Definitely.
Agreed. Totally agreed. It's been great. I'm looking forward to the training, and maybe we can catch up again, and we can talk about the new success.
Oh, definitely, definitely. I'm looking forward to. I know you're already successful with launching, right? So I know that you're going to take this. So maybe in another couple months we can revisit, see exactly where you are, so that other students also. It's great motivation for other students that sometimes people get stuck and they get a little confused. Life gets in the way if you're working, but it's all about mindset. I say, like like you were saying, you still make time each day, whether it's an hour early, if you really want it, right? Like making an hour earlier before you go to work, an hour when you get home, just put in that little bit of work, go through the training step by step. It's laid out all there, like from A to Z. I mean, over the shoulder video, we put a lot of work into recording all those videos step by step. So it's like, you don't miss a beat.
Yeah. You get what you put into it. So, if you're going to put in the effort, you'll get some back. You'll get a return. That's for sure. It's been like that for me, and I'm sure it could be like that for anybody.
Well, it was great talking with you, Everett. I'll let you go. I appreciate you jumping on the call. And again, until next time, it was great speaking with you.
Thanks, James. Talk to you again.
If you like this local lead gen business concept and what Everett is doing with it, I'm actually going to leave a link down below to a free local lead gen checklist so you can check that out, and I'll see you in the next video.